Hey, what's up? It is Dan McDonald, and I just wanted to make a video addressing the controversy on Facebook. It's about just like it always is, like 97% positive. It's been that way for years, but it's the 3% that gets Mr. Super Sensitive, which I don't think that's such a bad thing to have a sensitive system. But anyways, I made a post about, disappearing for a while. And I can understand why people think that I pop in and all I care about is money. But I don't really think that that's true. And I think that what bothered me is that, one lady I didn't know at all, but then there was another lady who I've known for years and we were friends, but then she wrote this long comment, you really need to think about all the stuff you're doing or whatever. I don't even know, but basically it's like people judging other people on the internet. Not just me, but I'm fortunate in that I don't, being that I'm a content creator, I'm not much of a content consumer, and I'm a very, very rarely do I comment on anything. Sometimes I like to hit the hornet's nest on like a CNN video or something like that, just to stir up, people's offended, just for fun, just for entertainment purposes, and then I get to see all the replies. But usually I don't comment much on social media because I don't know the nature of anyone's life, just like nobody knows what's going on in my life. And over the years, I've created a lot more space between myself and social media just because you get kind of sick of it. We could go into a million different things about this, that, and the other, and why everything is what it is. But basically, you know, only God knows what's going on in someone's life. So, like, I do show up and make money, and it's been that way for several years because it's my job. Because, and I'm going to assume you also have bills to pay. That's what I'm going to assume. That unless you've figured out a way to completely extricate yourself from the matrix of financial slavery, then somehow or another you have bills to pay. And I ended up on social media where a lot of people post all kinds of stuff all day, every day because they love the dopamine and they love the narcissism. I could give a crap about the dopamine. I could care less if you like me. It bothers me when a friend doesn't get it, or when someone who I think should have enough understanding that they don't understand what's going on in what I call my own spiritual experience. Like, why do you take so much time and space away from technology, the phone, and social media, and only show up when you have to make enough to pay your bills? Are you doing something else that the world has completely forgotten about? A natural, organic, human thing where what you want to do, and I'm not doing a very good job of that now, which is I'm back on here trying to explain myself. And that's what happens with social media. It creates this goddamn vortex. And then you have a much more difficult time reaching the inner stillness to find the treasure. And not necessarily more concepts, but no concepts of just being and at ease, maybe for brief periods, but ultimately what you're looking for is more of a long-term experience of that inner silence, or the knowledge of the self with a capital S, or the kingdom of heaven within you. Not just a book knowledge or concepts or semantics or verbal expression of linear data in the mind, but a real strong magnetic desire for the experience, And so what you're doing as a person who's not, it's not enough to just have the right lighting and say all the right words on social media. You may or may not understand, but I really do, I feel it in my heart. Like, I really love what the masters had to say, all of them, whose teaching stood the test of time. So when I'm talking about truth, I can reference a lot of different contexts, you know, historically, geographically, religiously, theologically. But in essence, what I'm saying is that I'm looking for the essential purity that exists within you and I and all of it. So it's not really even light versus dark. It's more like the lightless light that makes light and dark possible, or all of the dualities. And that's what I've seen lately, is the dualities rubbing up against each other all the time because of the nature of the human mind itself. But through, extensive effort, sadhana, austerities, for example, like fasting. That's why I might sound and look a little disheveled, because I'm 36 hours in on a dry fast. My mind is pretty clear. I've been feeling very, very well. But these are the methods and these are the sadhanas and these are the austerities that you put yourself through in order to possibly or potentially create the opportunity to experience. And I've had experience with fasting before, a lot of experience with diet, a lot of experiences with celibacy and continence, a lot of experiences with satsanga, and a lot of experience with meditation. And so it's just this one's own personal journey, what he needs, it's really more of an it, but it's, a he. And then but you might need other austerities or other disciplines or put your effort in other areas. And then you may not understand what I'm doing to just pop in because money is secondary. So I get accused on social media by old friends. All you care about is money, but they don't know. And so I should forgive them, but I block them because I have no tolerance anymore. I care about myself, I respect myself, and if you don't, then I just block you because you can't be within my field, you know. And so money is secondary to the path, but it became so obsessed, and I became like unconsciously anxious about money all the time, even though I'll set myself up like I have for periods where the rent is paid and the bills are paid, and now I can do these sadhanas, but they're only for short periods of time. If my ultimate life is to be able to do full-time sadhana and maybe even someday become like, I hate to say it, but like a spiritual teacher where we could just talk about the goodness of God or the truth. And that freaks everyone out. It's like food, don't talk about it. Everybody freaks out. Religion, don't talk about it. Everybody freaks out. It's like, I'm so emotional about all this, and everything else. And in these days, you can't have an opinion about anyone, about anything, without offending everyone. I'll tell you the truth. I don't get offended. It just doesn't happen. I might get angry, but I don't get offended. You know what I'm saying? So I just made this video out of my own heart because I'm hoping that people will understand more, not just about this experience, Dan, me, whatever the me, it's me and mine. I don't do a lot of me and mine because everything is God and everything is God's. This all belongs to God. This body belongs to the earth. I'm borrowing it from the earth. The animating life force source energy, that's God. So the only thing that would be a me is like an apparatus that is capable of awareness. So it's more like a witness. So I'm like, because nobody created duality, you know. And so what we're looking for, I call it the center, kind of because then you can avoid a lot of the drama of people. Because if you use words like God, you'll trigger the atheists, which I'm not too worried about. Or you say Jehovah, or if you say any other thing other than the semantics and the linguistics that they use for their conceptual ideas of how to explain religionism, then they freak out and they totally miss the essence of the essential purity. And that's why I don't have that many friends. And that's why I'm not that involved with social media, because I love the essential purity. I'm like a little iron filing. If anything, I'm a little iron filing, and God is a huge magnet, or the truth is a huge magnet. God is the truth. Those are just words, though. Replace them with anything that fits your paradigm. You know what I'm saying? We get lost in the words, and we spend lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and we miss the essence. You know what I'm saying? Christians miss the kingdom of heaven within. Buddhists miss nirvana. The Hindus miss enlightenment, because we get so trapped up in the mind. And so this is my job. So I'm like ripped in half between my love for solitude and stillness and just being nobody. And then over here, where it's like I'm in this place where it's like, okay, if you want to, because there's a phone bill and there's a storage unit and there is rent and there's a truck payment, and I'm sure you've got your own. That's why I will never judge you. Okay? I promise you that I will absolutely do my best to never judge you, because I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what your financial situation is. I don't know what's going on in your relationship. I don't know what your spiritual journey looks like. But I swear, to the best of my limited ability, I am going to try to help those who are in a more challenging station in life than I am, or lesser evolved, or whatever. I hate to say it like that. I will try to do my best to help them. And I do that all around. And it's easier in real life. Social media is like a real, excuse my language, shit show. Because it's not real. I've seen things day in and day out and day in and day out for years on social media, and I've never seen it one time in my real life. I've never had one negative experience in my real life that is associated with social media, but all day, every day, you'll see negativity. So everyone's drinking and smoking and angry and pissed off and sad and depressed and on all kinds of drugs. And then they're, screw you, damn McDonald's, you only care about the money. Now, that triggers some inner judgment in myself, which that's why I do these things, and I pray like fire to clear this out of me, Lord, and just let me be innocent again somehow, and not even have judgment against my own perceived deficiencies, because we're just here on planet Earth. It's very complicated, and yet the essence is simple. When it comes to the mind, things are very difficult and challenging, but if we can stay in the heart, you know and so that's why I've been doing a lot of practices. I know that some of you might think that all I do is get up here and promote products and services and sell stuff, but that's just one teeny tiny little incremental aspect of my life. And then, praise the Lord, the storage rent gets paid, the truck payment gets made, the phone. If I didn't pay the phone, I couldn't be making this video right now. And my phone bill has been, I'm not even going to tell you, it's been absolutely insane. And I try to call them and I say, this is ridiculous. What am I paying all this to you for? You know what I'm saying? And it's just astronomical, And then we've had like the economic downturn. I know a lot of you are experiencing that. I definitely experienced it because of being more of a conservative type voice. I'm the enemy of the state, and the state is the enemy of the people, but not everyone can see that. They cannot see what's going on geopolitically. It's not just politically, but the ooze and the sludge of the sadness and the emptiness of the people that want to control you has really got launched off in 2020 with the what, You can't even say the word anymore. But the official, well, the word is the pandemic, but it's not really, because that happens. If there was such a thing as a pandemic, it would happen naturally by nature, and it would be due to the behavior of the human beings. It would be due to the environment and their lack of self-care, like it always was with all the plagues and all the other things that happened in history. It was a lack of hygiene. And if human beings keep themselves in that clean and pristine state, which is what I've been trying to teach. I got sick 8 years ago, so I know when I say I never get sick, people will be like, you went to the hospital 8 years ago with food poisoning. So I can't say I never get sick, but I did get food poisoning at a festival because I ate other people's food, which I never do anymore. I eat my own food and that's it, because I really care with it, and I don't throw rotten crap in there that's going to make people sick. But these newbie chefs on some kind of scholarship at these festivals, they don't know the difference between a rotten zucchini inside there. They throw it in. That vat of dressing sits on the counter at room temperature, and just that bacteria from that rotten piece of zucchini, you know, goes in there, and then everyone eats it and gets sick. You know what I'm saying? And my immune system was low because of the stress of social media, because I had psycho stalkers, because of the psychotic vegans, and because I was going through a breakup, which was the hardest thing, a real breakup that broke me through. And it was the hardest time in my life, but it was one of the greatest lessons I had ever learned. And so sometimes the hard times, like these conundrums that we have to try to transcend, I believe they can be transcended because I've made some incremental progress, and my friends that know me in real life, they can see I'm a little softer, a little less angry, a little less anxious, you know, because I've had a hard life, okay? And thank God, because a hard life makes a strong man. And look at the generation now. They're so soft. They can't handle anything. They're offended at everything. You know what I'm saying? And their brains are so malleable. They just believe everything that the propaganda machine promotes. And they just go along with every trend and their little Facebook thing and Ukraine and Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. And it's like, you are washed out. I never change my thing because I don't believe in any of that. It's all this, the changing propaganda machine. I'm like, the truth for Dan McDonald has been the same since the eternity, and it will always be the same throughout all of eternity. That's why I don't go with the changing tides like a lot of the percentage of the humanity does, because they're not seeing the eternal truth that doesn't change, and that's the focus. And yet we're still here. I know people that are extremely enlightened and adept, and yet in the physical body they still have to deal with things like periods and food trip. If you eat too much, it doesn't matter how illuminated your spirit is. You may have 1,000 on the scale of consciousness, illuminated essential purity, and you eat too much and you still get bogged down. You still get gas. You still get bloated. You still get tired. And you still get diseases. So as long as we're in the flesh and we have a mind, there's probably going to be those human conundrums. But if the more that the context expands into the infinite, the easier it will be to sort of dissolve those dualities back into the center, you know? Because the more aware you become, the more aware you become of the dualities at the same time. And what happens on social media is that people pick one side of duality to judge you on. Thankfully, I have a lot of really cool people, and it's like 97% love. And I appreciate that because I see you, and I just want to be loved to you too. But I'm a content creator, and so therefore I'm the target of people's unresolved issues, and they're choosing one side of duality, that if you're on social media, you should be giving away everything for free because that's what love is. But that's not true, because then I wouldn't be loving myself, because then I'd be stressed out because I couldn't pay my bills. Does everyone understand the essence of what I'm saying? The essence is, judge not lest ye be judged. You know, try to have understanding. If you can't understand the details, understand the essence, and say, I don't understand. And the less you understand and the less you try to understand, the more you become understanding itself. The more you can simply witness without projecting, you know, judgments. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to make this video for myself to alleviate some pressure and kill another day of boredom, because I'm about to go into that's the hardest part about solitude, silence, is the goddamn boredom. That's what I hate. You know what I mean? I like to go around and buy food and juice and talk to my friends and be active, and I'd even like to get back to social media too, but this is a process I've been going through. So I'm asking everyone for their love and understanding that, and for yourself too, that you might need to take time to get to know yourself outside of social media, outside of the family dynamic. Okay, maybe you're married with 3 kids and you can only afford to have your husband watch the kids for 3 days while you get away for a 3-day thing, but maybe that too. Maybe one day of camping, maybe one day of hiking by yourself. So you can ask, who am I? Who am I really? What am I? That's a good question too. Any self-inquiry, any inward turning of the gaze to find and connect more with the source, the essential purity that gets lost in theology and religious semantics and concepts. It's not about, eliminating negative concepts and replacing them with positive ones. It's about freeing yourself from all concepts and being the awareness that you really truly are. That's hard for the world to understand. And then somehow being awareness and finding a way to navigate through things like bills and relationships and a service of some sort, a purpose, which I've never really found my purpose. And I'm trying really hard and begging God to show me what that is and to purify him, to purify this thing so that it doesn't worry about money, so that it isn't anxious, so that it can have faith, so that it can approach whatever it is that he's here to do with a purity, and I think I mean, I could go on and on, but I think you understand what I'm saying. And I just wanted to share that, because it hurt my feelings to have friends from like 10, 11 years, on social media. We've hung out together and stuff, to say those things and then to have to be blocked because I won't be disrespected like that, because I won't disrespect myself like that. I have to stop judging myself. I have to stop being hard on myself. Everyone has told me that all my life. You're too hard on yourself, which isn't the worst thing, because I'm not going to lower my standards. I'm simply going to learn how to be more gentle as the flower grows. You cannot get a flower to grow with a hammer. You understand what I mean? There are times in life when a hammer is useful, like pounding the stakes in on this tent. The hammer was very useful. I would have hated to have used my hand. But there are other things in life, like the growing of the flower of you, the flower of your life, the blossoming of your highest potential. It cannot be forced with a hammer, and you cannot make it happen by screaming at it. You simply get out of the way. You provide the best conditions possible through the various austerities, sadhanas, and practices and environments that you can, nurture and create around you and within you. And then you allow the essential purity of life to do what it does best. That is to evolve itself back to the pristine state, back to wholeness that we always were the whole time. But the mind got in the way, and we went outwards instead of inward, back to the source, the kingdom of heaven, the essential purity, the divinity. Can you dig it? I think that you can. And I appreciate you spending your time with me. I absolutely hope the best for you and your family. I really do. And I'm going to come back and be of service in some way or another. God bless you. Thank you. Check this out. What kind of view is that, baby? DTM out. God bless.